Tacito. I'm joined by the renowned royal biographer Tom Bower, who's, of course, just written a major new biography of Meghan. So, Tom, I want to start with this cut thing. Does Meghan need to think about the company she keeps if the Sussexes are ever going to be bought in from the cold? Because her beloved magazine has just completely slammed her grieving father-in-law, including, by the way, accusing him of being the royal racist.
Well, my feeling is that they don't want to come back in. They want all the perks, the titles, and the baubles and the power, but don't want to actually come back to Britain and rule the work. They wanted to just milk the system from Montecito. I thought in the amazing shots during yesterday's procession that Meghan looked pretty much like an intruder. And as an intruder, she's looking for more grist to give to the cut. She's sided with the American media against Britain, the Anglophobes like the New York Times, and also the Cut and other magazines and other so-called professors who really take on Meghan's charge against the royal family and make it even worse. So I think she's pretty unhappy in Britain. She doesn't like it that Kate probably looks infinitely better than she does, and Kate probably snubs her because she's been so rude and cruel and inaccurate. And it's a tough time for them, and not least because Meghan, I thought ridiculously when they left yesterday holding hands. They just are an odd couple by now. Always angry, never content, always complaining. The sooner they go, the better, I think, for Britain.
And then there's this extraordinary report by the Sun's royal editor, Tom, which suggests that even in this period of national mourning, even in this incredibly difficult time for King Charles, they are being relentless is the word, over granting Archie and Lilibet Prince and Princess titles and also HRH status. Now, I don't get this one, Tom, because they seem to hate the institution so much. They seem to hate everything the royal family is about. Why on earth do they want to put their children through having these titles, given they're going to grow up as Americans in California?
Well, simply because that's the only way they can make their money in America, by posing as royals, and they just want them to be princes and princesses. For Meghan, I think it's more Meghan than Harry. Meghan just sees it as her meal ticket, and she just sees the whole thing in her terms. I thought there was a very funny meme that went round soon after the Queen's death, where Meghan is saying, "It's just absolutely terrible. No one has asked me over the last 2 days if I'm okay." And I think that's what it's all about. I think that she took some power from this walkabout with Kate and William. She thought that she was back in the frame and that she's got some authority. The truth is that they are a malign couple. Nothing has changed. Harry, unfortunately, I think, is suffering because, after all, he loved his grandmother. Walking behind her coffin yesterday must have reminded him of that fateful walk behind his mother's coffin in 1997. And it's not easy for him. But Meghan is only thinking about herself. And that is the problem. I don't think anything the royal family can do is going to help them. And in the end, Penguin won the battle to delay the book. But whether that book will ever appear and how it will appear is up in the air still. So they're just an unhappy couple with huge pressures, not least financial. And they're outsiders here at the moment, and the focus isn't on them, and that makes me even more unhappy.
Welcome back to Royal News Daily, where the crown meets the headlines. Today's story focuses on the emotional side of Prince Harry's relationship with the royal family following comments made by royal biographer Tom Bower during a recent GB News discussion. Bower believes Prince Harry continues to suffer emotionally because of the close bond he shared with Queen Elizabeth II, while also dealing with the consequences of the continuing family rift. As always, we clearly distinguish between verified facts, reported information, and expert opinions to provide balanced coverage of the British royal family. If you enjoy trusted royal news, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, let's begin. Prince Harry has once again become the subject of royal discussion after royal biographer Tom Bower shared his thoughts on the Duke's emotional state during a GB News interview. According to Bower, Prince Harry is suffering because he genuinely loved Queen Elizabeth II, who remained one of the most important figures in his life. Bauer suggested that despite the public disagreements between Harry and the royal family in recent years, the late Queen always held a special place in her grandson's heart. During the discussion, Bauer argued that Queen Elizabeth's death represented more than the loss of a monarch for Harry. It was the loss of someone who had offered him guidance, affection, and stability throughout much of his life. Bauer also suggested that Harry may now be reflecting on the consequences of the family divisions that followed his decision to step back from royal duties in 2020, relocate to California with Meghan Markle, and publicly discuss family disagreements through interviews, documentaries, and his memoir Spare. According to Bauer, those events may have contributed to Harry's current emotional challenges. However, it is important to stress that these comments are Tom Bauer's personal opinions. Prince Harry has publicly spoken with warmth and affection about Queen Elizabeth II on several occasions, but he has not confirmed that he is experiencing the emotional struggles described by Bauer. Likewise, Buckingham Palace has not issued any statement supporting Bauer's assessment. Since leaving royal duties, Prince Harry has continued his work with the Invictus Games, the Archewell Foundation, and various charitable causes while living in California with Meghan Markle and their 2 children.
But Tom, they keep seeming to get their own way. It has been confirmed tonight that Prince Harry will be able to wear his military uniform at this vigil of the Queen's grandchildren, which we think is going to take place around her coffin in Westminster Hall on Saturday. Of course, previously, he had been told that he had to wear his morning suit for all of the formalities across this week. So they keep on giving in to him. King Charles clearly wants his son to feel like he's making a real effort. Do you think that's so that when he goes back to America, Charles hopes, oh my goodness, don't slag me off?
Well, I think that's definitely much Charles's motive, and also he's under such enormous pressure at the moment, not least because of his mother dying, but also being king and all the rest of it. He wants to get rid of the minor problems, and if Harry goes on and on and on, it's so much easier to say, oh God, let the man wear his uniform if it means so much. It's just very, very difficult. There was such a dreadful coincidence that they were in Britain at the time of the funeral, of the Queen's death, and didn't just fly in for the funeral. It's made it all infinitely more complicated. I don't think whether he wears the uniform or not is that important. I think much more important is that Charles and William find a way to neutralize the couple. In the end, I think many people will demand that they are stripped of their titles altogether and have done with it. But we're some way from that still.
Yeah, we're not there yet. It certainly feels, Tom, based on all of the reporting that I've done, I know you've done a lot of it over the past few years too, that William is prepared to take a much harder line than Charles. Charles still hopes that he can charm this couple. I personally think he's wrong. Because, look, he funded them in terms of getting to California, and they still have thrown him under a bus time and again, but he wants to give it a go as king. He thinks that there's a way for him to try and bring them back into the fold. Personally, I think it's naive, but I think it's Charles who has actually been softer on this couple than William.
Recent reports have also suggested there have been limited efforts to improve communication between Harry and King Charles, although relationships within the family continue to attract significant media attention. For now, whether Prince Harry is still deeply affected by these events remains a matter of personal interpretation rather than confirmed fact. Prince Harry was widely believed to have shared a close relationship with Queen Elizabeth II throughout his life. After he and Meghan Markle stepped back as senior working royals in 2020, family relationships became increasingly strained following high-profile interviews, the Netflix documentary series, and the publication of Harry's memoir Spare. Queen Elizabeth II passed away in September 2022 after serving as Britain's longest-reigning monarch. Her death marked a significant moment for both the royal family and Prince Harry, who returned to the UK to attend her funeral. Since then, discussions about reconciliation between Harry and the royal family have continued, although many aspects remain private. Reaction has been mixed. Some royal watchers agree with Tom Bower, believing Prince Harry's affection for Queen Elizabeth II makes it understandable that he would still feel the emotional impact of her passing. Others argue that no one outside Harry's inner circle can truly know how he feels, and they caution against drawing conclusions based solely on public appearances or commentary. Many viewers continue to hope that the shared memories of Queen Elizabeth II may one day help encourage reconciliation within the royal family. Tom Bower's latest comments offer one perspective on Prince Harry's emotional journey following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. While Bower believes Harry continues to suffer because of the bond he shared with his grandmother, these remarks remain personal opinions rather than verified facts.
Well, Charles is the father, and no father wants to lose contact with his son. And William is the aggrieved husband of Kate and feels that his brother has betrayed him and his wife and has behaved despicably, and not least Meghan too. And I'm sure the one thing Meghan is not going to do is apologise. Charles is clearly trying to find a way to diffuse Harry's anger, but I think in the end, Harry is completely governed by Meghan, and Meghan only thinks about Meghan, and therefore Charles is going to be disappointed. It's a horrible problem to have to face in this week of mourning about the Queen, but that's the whole point about the Sussexes. It is all about them, and they're not really interested in the rest of the world, not least in Britain mourning the passing of the Queen and wondering how the new king will cope. So I think that Charles is right to let Harry wear his uniform. It placates the problem. He hopes that at least Harry will leave with one grievance less, and wait and see then what happens. I'm surprised that he in the end gave their children titles Prince and Princess. It can't bode well in the future either. And I'm puzzled why the Sussexes think that their two children should be HRH when they clearly are not going to work. And we've got to remind ourselves that when Archie was born, Meghan made it absolutely clear through a statement that her son Archie was going to have no title at all. Now suddenly, they've all got to have their old baubles, everything.
As always, separating expert commentary from confirmed information is essential when following royal family news. What do you think? Do you believe Prince Harry is still deeply affected by the loss of Queen Elizabeth II? Or do you think it's impossible for anyone outside the family to know how he truly feels? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's update, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more balanced royal family news. Thank you for watching Royal News Daily, where the crown meets the headlines.